Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, dear students and friends. Today we are going to learn geography of class 8th, chapter number 2nd, land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. Before starting our session, welcome to Alhabib GPMS Gund Jahangir. Subscribe our channel and don't forget to click on the bell icon so to receive notification in future when we upload any video. Let us start our session of geography for class 8 today. In this session, we will learn land and land use, soil, soil profile, factors of soil formation, soil erosion, methods of soil conservation, water, conservation of water resources, natural vegetation and wildlife, distribution of natural vegetation, conservation of natural wildlife. Starting from the land, land covers about 30% of the total area of the Earth's surface. Due to variations in topography, all parts of the land may not be habitable. 90% of the world population lives only on 30% of the land area, and the remaining 70% of the land is either sparsely populated or uninhabited. Plains and river valleys are densely populated because they are suitable for agriculture. On the other hand, steep slopes and waterlogged areas are sparsely populated. Land is used for various purposes like agriculture, forestry, mining, building houses, roads, industries, etc. Factors which affect the use of land are topography, soil, climate, minerals, and availability of water. Human factors also determine the land use pattern. Ownership of land also determines the land use pattern. Increasing population means there is an ever-growing demand for land, but the availability of land is limited. Land degradation, landslides, soil erosion, desertification are the major threats to the environment. And in land use, the last point is human encroachment has led to large-scale destruction of forest cover and arable land. This is creating a danger for quality of land. Land degradation can be prevented by afforestation, land reclamation, regulated use of chemical pesticides and fertilizers, and by checking overgrazing. Going towards the soil, the topmost layer of the land, which is composed of grainy substance, is called soil. Soil is made up of organic matter, minerals, and weathered rocks. Soil formation takes place because of weathering of rocks. The soil becomes fertile because of the right combination of minerals and organic matter. Soil profile, the arrangement of different layers of soil at a place is called soil profile. The typical soil profile is composed of following layers, just shown in the picture on your screen. Topsoil. Topsoil is composed of humus and fine particles of clay and sand. Then comes the second layer, that is called subsoil. Subsoil is the second layer of the soil. It is composed of sand, silt, and clay. Then comes the third layer, which is weathered rock material, which is composed of large piece of rocks. And the last layer of the soil profile is composed of huge rocks, which is called bedrock. What are the factors of soil formation? Following are the factors of the soil formation. Number one, parent rock. The parent rock determines the color, texture, permeability, chemical property, and mineral content of the soil. Second, climate. Temperature and rainfall influence the rate of weathering. Number third, relief. Altitude and slope determine the accumulation of soil at a place. Number fourth, flora, fauna, and microorganism. These are the biotic factors which affect the rate of humus formation. Time. Time determines the thickness of soil profile. Soil erosion. Coming towards the soil erosion. Removal of topsoil is called soil erosion. Deforestation, overgrazing, overuse of chemical fertilizers or pesticides, rainwash, landslides, and floods are the factors which led to soil erosion. Methods of soil conservation. The first one is mulching. In this method, the bare ground is covered with organic matter like straw. Covering the soil helps in retaining the moisture in soil. Then comes the counter barriers. Counter barriers are made by placing stone, grass, or soil along the counter. Trenches are made in front of the barriers to collect water. Counter barriers help in preventing soil degradation, which may happen due to rainwash. Then comes the third point, that is rock dam. Rocks are piled up to make a dam. Such dams slow down the flow of water, thus it prevents gullies and soil loss. Terrace farming is done in hilly areas. Plots are made in the shape of terrace to ensure flat surface for growing the crops. It helps in reducing soil erosion which may happen because of runoff. Intercropping. In this method, different crops are grown in alternate rows. Crops are grown at different times. It helps in preventing soil erosion from rainwash. Counter plowing. In this method, plowing is done parallel to the contours of the hill slope. This helps in forming a natural barrier and prevents water from flowing down the slope. Then comes the shelter belt. This method is used in coastal areas and in dry regions. Rows of trees are planted along the boundary of the farmland. This helps in preventing soil erosion from wind. Now going towards the water, about three-fourths of the Earth's surface is covered with water, but most of the water on Earth is in the oceans. Ocean water is saline and hence is not fit for human consumption. Just 2.7% of the total water on the earth is available as fresh water, but 70% of the total fresh water on the earth is available as frozen ice in glaciers and icebergs. This leaves less than 1% of the total water on earth for human consumption. This is available as groundwater, as surface water, and as water vapor. Hence, fresh water is a precious resource for us. The total volume of water on the earth remains constant. Water keeps on getting cycled through oceans, the air, the land, and back to ocean through a process called water cycle. Human beings are Human beings use water for a variety of purposes like drinking, bathing, and washing. Water is also used in production of various things for our use. Moreover, water is used in agriculture, industries, and in electricity generation. Increasing population has resulted in exploitation of water on an even larger scale. This has resulted in shortage of water at many places. Shortage of drinking water is a major problem in many parts of the world. Almost all the continents are facing the problem of water scarcity. How to conserve water resources or conservation of water resources. Let's talk about this. Access to clean and adequate water is a major problem in the world. Overuse and pollution of water have made it unfit for use at many places. Sewage, agricultural chemicals, and industrial effluents are often discharged into water bodies either in partially treated or untreated form. They pollute the water with various kinds of contaminants. Treatment of these effluents can help in controlling water pollution. Forest and vegetation cover slow the surface runoff and thus help in recharging the groundwater. Surface runoff can also be reduced by applying the method of water harvesting. The third point is canals should be properly lined to minimize the losses by seepage. Sprinklers and drip irrigation help in minimizing the use of water for irrigation and thus help in conservation of water. Now going towards the natural vegetation and wildlife, first comes the biosphere. Natural vegetation exists only in the biosphere, the narrow zone of contact between the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere, in which life exists is called biosphere. Then comes the ecosystem. The living beings are interrelated and interdependent on each other for survival. This life supporting system is called ecosystem. Importance of natural vegetation. Vegetation provides shelter to animals and provides us with timber and many other forest produce. Plants also produce oxygen when they make food, and oxygen is the gas we breathe. Plants protect soil from degradation. Plants help in recharging the groundwater. And wildlife. Animals, birds, insects, as well as the aquatic life forms com- comprise the wildlife. We get meat and leather from animals. Honeybees provide us with honey. Insects are the major pollinators and thus help not only the plants but also the human beings. Some animals play the role of scavengers and clean the dead remains of animals. All animals play important role in maintaining the balance in the ecosystem. Distribution of natural vegetation. Temperature and moisture determine the growth of vegetation in a particular region. Forests, grasslands, scrubs, and tundra are the major vegetation types in the world. Huge trees can thrive in areas of heavy rainfall. The dense forests are present in areas which have abundant supply of water. The size and the density of trees decreases with relative decrease in moisture. Short-stunted trees and grasses grow in the regions of moderate rainfall. Thorny shrubs and scrubs grow in dry areas which get low or negligible rainfall. The the tundra vegetation is found in cold polar regions and comprises of mosses and lichens. Evergreen forests. Trees of evergreen forests do not shed their leaves at a particular time in a year. Evergreen forests are found in tropical regions which get plenty of sunshine and rainfall. Coming towards the deciduous forests, trees of deciduous forests shed their leaves at a particular time in a year. Deciduous forests are found in subtropical regions which get moderate sunshine and rainfall. How to conserve the natural vegetation and wildlife. First point, deforestation, soil erosion, construction activities, forest fires, tsunami, and landslides are some of the factors which are causing extinction of forest and wildlife resources. Poaching is another concern which is leading to extinction of valuable wildlife. The government has made national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and biosphere reserves to protect the natural vegetation and wildlife. Many awareness programs like social forestry and One Mahotsav are also encouraged to conserve the wildlife and forests. Many laws have been passed to make poaching an illegal and punishable offense. In India, killing of lions, tigers, deer, etc. have been banned. And international convention sites has been established that lists several species of animals and birds in which trade is prohibited. CITES stands for Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. About 5,000 animal species and 28,000 plant species are being protected under the CITES. Thank you for watching this session, the session of Geography for Class 8, Land, Soil, Water, Natural Vegetation and Wildlife Resources. This session was prepared and designed by Engineer Javed Hura, a smart class trainer for Al Habib GPMS Kundjangir and Welcome Coaching Classes Kundjangir. Thank you for watching.